Hello everyone and welcome back. Today I share how to make this beef and fish stew. Let me tell you, this stew was banging. Let's make it. So to begin, I'm going to add the washed beef into a pot, blend some garlic, ginger, onion, and then pour into the beef as well. I'm going to rinse out the jar with a little bit of water and add it to the beef. Now I'm going to add our green marinade. Who remembers this recipe? It's a blend of fresh herbs that I blended and kept in the freezer for things like this. It can elevate your cooking. I'll leave that link in the comment section. Next, add some fresh rosemary, thyme, and some curry powder. You can also use dry rosemary or dry thyme if that is what you have. So now mix this thoroughly and then cover for this to cook without adding any more water. Meanwhile, over here I have my pepper mix on fire boiling. This is a blend of red bell pepper, sweet pepper, scotch bonnet pepper, and very little amount of tomatoes. I used more peppers than tomato. So I cooked it until all the liquid in it was dry. So 15 minutes later, I go back to check on the beef and it is coming along really well. I wish you guys can just perceive the aroma that oozes out of this pot when I opened it. It is truly nose blinding. When I say these things, I'm not just joking, it is true. Delicious. So now I'm going to add a little bit of water and then cover so the beef can cook through. Today's hug is for Shelly Mujeri watching from Zimbabwe. I'm glad you love the recipes. Please let me know where you're watching from so I can send you a hug in my next video. Next, I'm going to now season the fish. I have my hake fish already clean and cut. I'm going to place it into a bowl now and add some onion powder, some curry powder, a little bit of fish seasoning, a little bit of salt, and then toss it around really well, cover so you can marinate for at least 30 minutes. With the fish, feel free to use any fish of your choice. You can use mackerel, tilapia, whichever fish you have. I just like this because it's usually not overpowering in my stews. Once a knife can drive through the meat easily, then you know it is cooked. Scoop it out and set it aside. You also want to set the stock aside because you'll need it later. Over here I have some oil heating up on fire. I'm going to add a bit of onion to flavor the oil and then fry the beef. Now you can choose to air fry this or bake it in the oven. I choose to fry because I wanted this oil to be infused with that flavor from the beef because I'm going to use this same oil to cook this stew. Now once the meat is dry, not very dry, but according to your taste anyway, once it is dry, scoop it out and fry the fish as well. So now after frying the protein, I'm going to transfer that same oil into my cooking pot. This is the one I'm going to use to cook the stew. Add some chopped onion and fry for about 2 minutes until it becomes fragrant. So at this point, add the boiled pepper mix and stir. But wait, before you type the oil is too much, you actually need, reasonable amount of oil to fry your tomato stew. After frying it, when it is done, you will see all the oil float to the top. At that point, you can now scoop out all the excess oil and use it for your next batch of cooking or use it to make beans or any other recipe that requires vegetable oil. But you need it to fry your stew so you can actually fry and not broil. Okay, so now I'm going to keep stirring in between to make sure it doesn't burn until it is ready. Now how do you know it is ready? You know it is ready when you taste and it tastes sweet, or you start to see the tomatoes separate from the oil. Then you know that your tomato stew is ready. But make sure you keep stirring in between so it doesn't burn. So at this point my stew is well fried. I'm going to now reintroduce the meat stock. Remember the meat stock we saved from our beef. This is the time to add it. I like to sieve mine in to get rid of the stem from the rosemary and the thyme. Now once you add it, you want to taste before you add any more seasoning. Remember the meat stock is also properly seasoned, so don't always add that first before you adjust with any more seasoning or salt. So I'm going to add a little bit more seasoning, stir this around, and then I'm going to add the fried beef and the fish. Once I add the fried beef and the fish, I'm going to let this simmer on low heat for another 10 minutes, and then I'll come back. So 10 minutes later, our stew is bubbling and ready. You will also notice that all the oil have floated to the top of the pot. Now at this point, you can scoop out every single oil from this pot if you want. Store in an airtight container and then save it in your freezer. You can use it the next time you're making stew. You can fry eggs with it. You can cook beans with it, yam sauce with it. Any recipe that calls for vegetable oil, you can use this to make it. So it is not a waste. And then you also have well-fried stew. Now look at our stew. This stew was so delicious and very versatile as well. You can use this to have your rice, beans, bread, yam, and so on. In fact, as a mom, having stew in your fridge is a must. Okay, thank you all so much for watching. Send me your pictures on Instagram at joyfulcook_ if you get to try out this recipe. See you in my next one. Bye.